Alright, today's a very special video. We're going to be going over everything that I've done in my 6 years of music, from how I started to how I built a successful music career. We're going over the full story, what I did over the years, where I messed up, what you can do to save years. Because honestly, if you take my advice, you can get to where I got in 6 years in like one. If you work your ass off, you could literally save like 5 years. Like, I've really made most of the progress I've made in my career in like the last 1 to 2 years, and even that could have been done faster. So I've seen people doing like these presentation type formats for their videos, so we're gonna do that. So we'll put pictures on the screen as well. But yeah, I was the awkward kid growing up. I had no purpose in life. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and it was always like a thing. Like, even my parents would say that to me. Like, they always told me like I was so indecisive. Like, they'd ask me literally any basic question, I could just never make a decision for myself. So for then somebody to ask you, what do you want to do with your life, that's like a huge question. I couldn't even like fucking fathom that. I couldn't think of that at all. So it would, there would be like the first day of school where everybody goes around, they say like what they want to do and shit. I never knew. I'd always just say some random bullshit job. So yeah, I never really knew what I wanted to do with my life. What I did know was I hated school. I didn't fit in with any of the kids my age. I hated how the education system made me feel. You're stuck. You have to listen to this one person all day. You literally have to raise your hand and ask to go take a fucking shit. Like, you don't have freedom. I wanted freedom in my life. And another part with school I disliked was I didn't fit in with the other kids my age, especially living in America. You're surrounded by a lot of degeneracy. Like, it's just so normal to, just not really think about your future or what you want in life. Kids are living so very like short term right now. They're just, partying, doing whatever. And I'm not saying you can't party, but I'm saying you should be thinking long term. You should be actually working towards something. 90% of the motherfuckers I went to school with, especially at the school I went to, if you know, those kids are going to be fucking useless in like 5 years from now. Like, genuinely, I feel bad for a lot of those kids. But yeah, this is a pretty basic story of most people who are in some type of business or whatever. You're purposeless, hated school, didn't fit in with the kids. And this is what I did know. I knew I wanted something more. From what I said above, it made me miserable. School genuinely made me miserable every single day. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I always knew I wanted more, even from a young age. Like, when I was like 8 years old, I was making fucking Minecraft videos, putting them on YouTube. And I was telling my parents, it's like, these YouTubers make so much money, and they didn't think you could make money from YouTube. And we'll get back to that point a little bit later in this video, but they didn't think you could make $1 off this shit. But even from a young age, I knew I wanted to do something of that nature, my own business, living on my own means. Then around 8th grade or even freshman year, somewhere in that area, I discovered music, and it quickly became a very big passion of mine, because that's something I've noticed about myself. I'll really pick up on shit really early. Like, I think at one point I was watching like a lot of like animation YouTube channels. I wanted to like become an animator, and then that was short-lived. Or for example, when I was 8, I was watching like Minecraft YouTubers. I wanted to make like Minecraft videos and shit. So I pick up on things very fast. So I discovered people making beats and stuff like that. I discovered type beats, and I was like, oh, I could try this. So I quickly really enjoyed it, and it wasn't something I just gave up on a week later like I did with all those other things I mentioned. And yeah, FL Studio became the love of my life. I'll throw the picture on screen. I think it was either me or one of my friends who made this picture, but yeah, that shit's always funny. And yeah, I started grinding FL Studio tutorials. If like Busyworks Beats, he's the GOAT back in the day. I don't know if the modern kids are watching them to learn how to make their beats, but he was the GOAT back in the day. There's a lot of other people. Sharp, he was good. If you know, like, those names are just so nostalgic nowadays. But yeah, I was grinding YouTube tutorials, and I was fucking shit. Like, my music was shit, but at least I was taking action and trying to do something. Because that's the thing with a lot of guys out there, and that's the first lesson. You probably are doing this right now, is like, you're just binging YouTube videos, but you're not actually like working on something. You're not actually taking action. Because it's one thing to learn. I always preach how good learning stuff is. Like, you're probably going to learn something watching this video, you still have to actually go out and do the things I talk about. So if I say you gotta upload daily on your beat channel, and then you're not uploading daily, it's like, what the fuck did you watch this video for? So yeah, after that, summer 2018 is really when I got started. I created the original Cypher channel, which is under a different name. If you know, you know. If you know, comment down below what the original name was. I know only a few people would get it, because I only did that name for like half a year. But yeah, this was the beginning of the shitty beat arc. I would just post, I was actually very consistent, believe it or not, but I didn't like force myself to be consistent. I would just make a beat and then upload it. I wasn't out there like, oh, I gotta get this uploaded today, I'm on a serious schedule. I was just doing it. And honestly, I do miss this art. And if you're a beginner producer, don't take it for granted. Like, it's such a fun time when you're like discovering everything. But yeah, at the end of the day, I was pretty shit. I wasn't even making serious beats half the time. I was making some like X and Ski beats, but then I was just, on the other hand, I was also doing like meme rap beats. So it's like, you're not gonna grow a consistent audience with that. But like, that was just me fucking around, still learning how to make beats. Like, this was going into freshman year, so you could think about it like I was a little fucking retard. So yeah, it makes sense. But I was stuck at like this 1 to 200 view bubble, which is where 99% of guys, and you probably are as well, on your beat channels. So I started my beat channel, started uploading on there, got stuck there. 1, because I wasn't making serious stuff. 2, my beats were shit. So it's like, what do you expect? Now, this is where things started to get real. I grinded for an entire summer. I probably posted, I started roughly June, I think June 8th, no, not June 18th, probably early June was probably when I started roughly. I probably uploaded at most 50 beats from then to August, but probably closer to 30 beats. So I was uploading like once every few days or so, and most of those beats are deleted now. Flashback to, I think, mid-August. Took an entire summer. Somebody DMs me on Instagram. I don't know if I can find the DM. If I can, I'll put it on screen, but he says, hey, I saw this beat on your YouTube. How much is it? And I was just posting beats for fun. I didn't have anything about purchasing in there. I didn't even know. I I knew it was a thing, but like, I didn't know I could sell beats. Because I was like 14 years old. I didn't know how to do this shit. I didn't even have a PayPal at the time. So I see this DM, I start freaking out. I'm telling my mom and my dad, I'm like, yo, I need somebody's PayPal ASAP. I don't know how to sell beats. I got this guy who wants to send me money for my work. And that was so eye-opening. That's another lesson, though. I fucked up by not having a beat store. For the first multiple years of me starting my beat channel and starting my beat selling business, I didn't even have a beat store. So it was like, I probably lost up on so many sales because of that. So if you're going to start your beat selling business, just buy the store, go all out. Don't say, oh, I'll get the store when I start getting sales. Do it now. 'Cause you could tell, like, just by this, I wasn't serious. And with the guy who DM'd me, I was very unprofessional because I didn't know what I was doing. So I was like freaking out. I was like, yo, you got to send it tomorrow. I didn't tell him why, but the truth was I didn't have a PayPal yet. So I was just still trying to figure it out. And I wasn't even old enough to like make a PayPal, so I had to use my dad's or some shit. But I still got the sale though, because I'm a fucking G. I was able to talk my way into it. I think he gave me $50 for the stems lease. I didn't know what stems were. I was looking up a YouTube tutorial, how to export stems. And that was pretty funny, but I managed to get the sale. And this was the eye-opening moment because I realized people will give me money for my work. It probably took me 1 hour to make that beat, and I made $50 off it, which that's a pretty good fucking wage, $50 an hour. The most I've ever worked a real job for is, I think, $20 an hour. And I wasn't even old enough to work a real job at that time, so that's pretty fucking crazy. I think this was eye-opening to my parents as well, because, you know, remember when I said when I was 8, they said, oh, you can't make money off YouTube. So I think this is when they started like being like, oh, you know, maybe you want to start taking this seriously. But yeah, we'll get back into the comment in a bit. But let's go into the next page. This is when the grind begins. After that first sale, I was like, holy shit, this could actually be something I can try and scale up. It was still me posting for fun, but now I had the intent in my mind, like, yeah, I could actually try and sell some of these. And yeah, I really wasn't like grinding the YouTube tutorials like I was before. I was just making beats. And there's an issue with that. I am a firm believer of taking action and not just grinding tutorials, but you gotta have some type of mix of learning and working, because it got to a point where I got complacent and my beats just weren't improving. They were getting like, you know, slightly better, but I could have saved so much time if I actually just tried to improve my beats, because I thought I was good, but I wasn't. But yeah, we'll get back to that later. Fast forward to December, sale number 2. This time I fucked up because I realized in the first sale I was too unprofessional. The second one I was way too professional. You got to think about it. The music industry is a very like laid back industry. Only when you're working and talking to like managers and labels and stuff, then it's a little bit more professional. But when you're talking to the artist, you can't be like a businessman. You got to keep it cool. I did get the sale, but I think I ruined the relationship with him. He didn't want to buy more beats from me. But I established my niche there. I was big in the X and Ski stuff because that's the type of beat that sold, and I just kept going with that. And like I said in the beginning, I was still doing like the meme stuff, which I wish I never did, but like, it's whatever, you know. I was just doing it for fun. I didn't even think of this as like something that could be a career. It was like just at most a side hustle at this point. So yeah, then 2019 came. I was about 6 months into producing. My beats weren't good, but they were good enough to where they could be sold. So I remember around April's when it started to pick up. I don't remember 2019 too much because it was kind of a blur, but I know my channel started to grow. We changed the name to Stifle, and I started getting a somewhat consistent income, maybe 100 to 300 per month. But it wasn't consistent at all. 1 month might even be less than $100. 1 month might be 400. But yeah, it wasn't that good. But I was still learning. I was trying to figure out my shit. And a couple of my meme beats actually started to blow up here. And to this day, I have a lot of fucking views. So I kept going with that. The problem with that is, fucking meme beats aren't going to sell. Like, yeah, some people bought the least, but, like, for the most part, it's like a meme beat with 300K views will make a fuck ton less than a serious beat with even just 100K views. So you got to think about it like that. So I was just doing the meme stuff for the views specifically. And I kind of got stuck in that little trap where it's like, all my subscribers just wanted meme stuff. They weren't really popping into the serious beats. But we're going to fast forward to 2020 because 2019 I just kind of kept doing that. It was all a blur. Nothing was really going on. I honestly just wasted a year of my life doing that because like 2018 I was in the beginning at least, I was focused on learning and stuff, and I think that was good development because I was getting the early reps in, kind of learning how the YouTube Type Beat game works. 2019 was just a fucking blur, to be honest. And that's again why I always preach to keep learning and keep, trying to study this shit. I really wasn't trying to learn the game at this point. I was just kind of doing what I knew. But 2020 is when things started to turn around again. I established my new niche in Tokyo's Revenge type beats, or just overall what the modern underground was at the time, and goddamn, I miss this fucking underground. Nowadays, we got like the fucking like Destroy Lonely and Ken Carson clones popping up every now and then, and it's like, that shit's just, it's not as classic as that old underground to me personally, but I know that's a controversial take. I miss the 2020 underground is my point, and that's the niche I established. Now, if I was doing all the right things in 2019, I could have been so much fucking bigger at this point, but it is what it is. I live and I learn. I wasn't really networking with anybody. I had barely any artists or producer friends at this point, so it's completely my fault why I wasn't learning shit. In my opinion, you can only learn so much through the YouTube tutorials, which I really even wasn't watching at this point anymore. But in my opinion, the two ways to really learn, especially in the beginning, networking and, tutorials. So I wasn't doing those, and I wish I did because I could have been so much bigger at this point. But when I established myself in this new niche, that's when it started to turn around. I started to get those first few artists that I was building relationships with, those first few producers, and I even got up to 500 in 1 month. I remember my second ever Tokyo type beat sold exclusively. It wasn't very expensive. It was like probably $100 or something, but that was an artist that I came back to and he bought a few more beats off me. So I was then building relationships with artists, and I was getting some minor placements with some relatively known people in the underground at the time, but nobody that's like, famous. Nobody most of you would probably know. Then we continued that niche for a very, very long time. And if you're familiar with the underground, some very bad things, very controversial things happened with a lot of the biggest artists in the scene. Very illegal things, very bad things we're not going to talk about, but that kind of just killed the fucking genre. And it's like, I didn't want to continue to put that artist's name in the title of my beats just because it didn't feel right. The views wouldn't have been as good regardless. And yeah, it felt wrong putting that guy in the title. So then I was like, fuck. We had success, and the whole underground literally fell apart within like fucking 7 days. It was a disaster. But that brings us to about summer 2021. I needed to figure something else out. I kept making those same beats as the stuff I was making in 2020, but I wanted to figure out, what else can I do? And I started doing a few other new niches. I got into funk stuff. I got into a genre that's known as aesthetic rap, and aesthetic rap was a big one for me. And honestly, I know I say in the videos you shouldn't change your niche so many times, but this, honestly, changing my niche so many times did help me, but that's only because I was like still really like learning how to make beats and shit. If you follow the advice in my videos, you won't have to like change niches and shit, because you should have an understanding of how the game works already. I was only doing it just because I kept like restarting and shit, but that's a whole different point. Anyways, this niche, I uploaded one beat. I'll put it on screen, and this is the beat that changed everything. It didn't get that many views, and that's an important lesson. It's not always about how many people see it, it's about who sees it. This one beat started an entire wave, because this beat was probably the best a type beat could be. Not necessarily that's the best beat in the world, but it's a good example of what a good type beat is. It's not an exact copy of what the other people in the niche are doing or the artists that I based it off of, but it's similar enough, and I'm doing my own thing to where it's unique, but it will still get a lot of views and a lot of people will use it. since it's similar to the niche I'm doing. So I know that sounded like a lot, but in simple terms, I did something pretty unique in the genre that wasn't heard before. And one artist heard it, he made a song to it. Instantly, literally instantly after it dropped, it started to blow up. Then I started making more beats from that exact artist who used my stuff. So we went from being like a customer of mine to somebody I started making type beats off of and started to work with again. We made another song that also blew up. Now I see other people making my types of beats, and I see other artists using them. And that was very interesting. And some of the biggest artists in the aesthetic rap scene were finding out about me. I established my name in a niche finally. Like, yeah, in that little underground 2020 niche, I was kind of established, but not really. Like, I was just kind of like there. I don't know. But in this niche, I was really like one of the bigger names in there. I wasn't like one of the, the top dogs, but like I was up there for sure. And I basically pioneered a subgenre of aesthetic rap. It didn't really have a name, but it was just really just like that sad, lo-fi, like Shiloh aesthetic rap. If you know, you know. And this was a big moment for me. And I call it the follow back moment. I wasn't really too familiar with the aesthetic rap stuff. I'll be honest. I was just kind of making the beats and then something popped off. So I was looking into other artists in the scene just to see if there's anybody I could work with. And I was just going through like a big playlist of a lot of the artists. I'd find their Instagrams. And for a lot of the artists, probably more than half of them, I would click on their Instagram and it wouldn't say follow. It would say follow back. As in they already follow me. And then that's when I was really like, holy shit. I'm making fucking plays in this genre. So I started getting a lot more sales here, 600 to 800 per month. Plus I got those big songs dropping. I got people, I'm getting pretty decent placements, and that royalty money's coming in. So the money was getting pretty decent here. And this is when I was like, holy shit, we got to start making it like a career. At this time as well, I also made, I think this is when, or maybe even a little bit before, this is when I made my $1,000th off of YouTube. And this is when my parents really started believing in it, because like I said, when I was like 8 years old, they didn't believe you could make money off YouTube. And I remember sending them the exact screenshot of it saying $1,000 on the YouTube AdSense shit. And then that's when everything started to really come to life. This is when I started taking it more seriously. And I'm like, I got to start treating this like it could be a career rather than just some hobby. That big placement, the original big placement, came out in May. Now let's fast forward to late 2021. My channel was still growing, but it really wasn't hitting the algorithm. It was only growing through the success of my placements. So people would like look me up themselves and then subscribe from there. And that's just because my channel was getting a little stale at this point. Like I said, if you change niches a shit ton of times, it kills your channel out of the algorithm. And that's because YouTube, when you upload a video, it first recommends your stuff to your current subscribers. Then if your subscribers like it, it will recommend it to everyone, like new people. But if they don't like it, it will just kind of like die. And I had all these subscribers for these other previous niches I did that when I did try to like upload this new genre of aesthetic rap, a lot of the guys weren't really like fucking with it. So I could have been way bigger if I just made a new channel and went crazy with the aesthetic beats there. But the channel grew regardless just because of the placements I was getting. And yeah, the YouTube honestly became kind of a side thing. I was focused on just sending beats to these artists. I really wanted to become big in this genre, and it was going pretty well. 800 to even, I remember my first $1,000 month on BeatStars. And yeah, this is when things started to come to life. I started establishing closer relationships with the artists and making genuine friends. Like genuinely, some of the people I met through this music shit are genuine friends. You've seen a couple of them in the videos. They're really cool people. I met a lot of cool producers and artists. And 2022, yeah, I was going cool in like the placement side of things and the artist-producer relationships. But in terms of YouTube, this was kind of the start of the end. I started posting tutorials on my one channel. So all the stuff I've told in this video has been on my one original channel so far. All those different niche changes, and now tutorials as well as beats. And this is the start of the end. Late 2022, my channel plateaued, and just, I wasn't seeing any results. The money started to go down, and I was scared. I was like, holy shit, it's over. I didn't know what was going on. The tutorials actually did surprisingly very, very well. Like, I got very good views on them, and they were fucking dog shit videos, to be honest. Every single video on this channel right now is way better than any of those tutorials. But they got good views for some reason. But yeah, this wasn't good. Welcome to the fall off. For like another year straight, I wasted another year of my life. I've wasted so much time in this video, and that's the overall message is don't waste time, take action, learn from the mistakes. Just you guys get it. But this is the fall off. Welcome to the fall off, boys. It's been a wild ride. I thought it was over. And yeah, tutorials killed the engagement on my type beats just because I was gaining this producer audience from the tutorials. and then they weren't watching the type beats, and then I was getting the artist engagement from the type beats, and then they weren't going to the tutorials. So it was like the whole channel just started to plateau and then even just really go down. So I was like, fuck. The placement hype started to die off. Aesthetic rap got overplayed. There was a whole thing about that where like people were freaking out. Honestly, I'm the one who kind of started that though, because I posted on Instagram. I was like, so many people just make the same songs, they use the same samples and stuff, and then everybody just started freaking out and like the genre kind of died. But the bad part about this is I quit my part-time job at this time to pursue music, because at this point, you know, when I first started, I wasn't old enough to get a job, but when I turned 16, the money just wasn't there through music. So I got a real job and I worked that for over a year, and then I quit because music was going very well. I was at the highest of my career I've ever been. Then things started to fall off as soon as I quit. So I was like, fuck. Everything that could have went wrong, and I thought this was the end. I was like, shit, music's not working out. But there's always one thing to fall back on, and that's the artist relationships I had. So I just continued working with those guys while I tried to figure out a plan to fucking fix this mess that my social media platforms were on. My Instagram was dying, my YouTube was dying, everything was going to shit. And this is because I just did the same thing over and over again. We all started making the same aesthetic songs and started posting the same beats over and over again. It was just like, what am I doing? You have to be innovating always. And I'm not saying, you know, switch it up completely every fucking month, but I'm saying like always be improving. That's an overall message of this video, and that's something I've said a lot of the time for like every like chapter of this video. I've said like, oh, I would have been so much further if I just focused on learning and trying to get better. So yeah, I got very complacent with where I was, and I wasn't trying to do anything new. About 11 months ago now, so that would be about summer 2023, I was talking to other people about what I should do with my channel. People told me I should quit, and that was like, holy shit, that hurt so bad. But they didn't tell me to, you know, just quit and never make a fucking beat again, you know? They told me to quit and start a new channel because my shit's dead out of the algorithm. Although I was making music for like 4 years at this point, 5 years even, I was only taking it serious for about 1. And I never really like studied the YouTube algorithm or the type beat game. So like I knew, you know, you had to post consistent and do one niche on the type beat stuff. I didn't know like changing the niches a bunch of times and all the other bullshit I did would like actually kill the channel. So yeah, I was stuck. I was like, I got the tutorials are going well, but they're not going that well. I got the beats, they're doing all right. I'm not really making sales though. So I was like, shit, it just keeps going down every month. I think it might be best to restart. I started a new channel for tutorials, which is the very channel you're watching now. That was originally called Cyphle 2. Now it's called Cyphle just because it's the main channel now. But yeah, we did that. Started posting tutorials on there. They did pretty well. Literally instantly, I started this tutorial channel, getting the same views that I was on my original channel. Then I also stopped posting beats on my original type beat channel, and I started a new beat channel. And I stuck to one niche. I did all the right things this time. And instantly, that one started doing pretty fucking good as well. Like, instantly within a couple months, I was making like $300 a month off it, which isn't a lot, but that's still better than zero. Because I was falling off at this point. Like, I was only making like a couple hundred a month off the original channel after the fall off. So I went from 1,000 a month to like 300. So the fall off was real. And everyone thought I was fucking insane for restarting. Like, I remember my parents were like, why would you do that? But yeah, I mean, I got the same success way faster just because I knew what I was doing this time. And I spent those previous 4 years just kind of learning by myself. And again, I'll say it, I could have gotten there way faster, but it is what it is. I'm very grateful for everything that's happened, though, because I think everything happens for a reason. And I think this is just the path I was meant to be on, and it seems to be working out pretty well now. So yeah, I quit that original channel, which was posting beats and tutorials, and made 2 new channels, one for tutorials called Cyphle 2, one for beats called Cyphle 3. Both of them very fucking quickly got back up to the success I was at the original channel. So then I posted the infamous I quit video on my original channel. Late 2023 or even mid 2023 to present day mid 2024 has been the resurgence arc. I made a video on this channel going over the success of my new type beat channel. I know it's kind of weird, like I'm talking about so many fucking channels, but I started the new type beat channel. It did very well. I made a video about that on this tutorial channel, which became the most viewed video on this channel. And that's when I was like, holy shit, all I had to do was just separate the content and then everything would be back in the algorithm. So I started blowing up. The new beat channel is doing well and back to consistent income. I'm starting to get some minor placements through the channel again. And the one thing I always had to fall back on was the relationships I made across the way. I'm still friends with a lot of the people I met through like that 2020 arc, and I'm friends with a fuck ton of people I made in the 2021 arc. So those relationships have always been there. They've always been bringing in income through the royalty money and shit like that. And I've always had somebody to bounce ideas off of. You know, when I was thinking, I was very on the fence of quitting my channel originally. I had people to talk to about that. I had people telling me whether it was a good idea or a bad idea. And yeah, it really helps in an industry like this to have somebody else. I've always took pride in like doing solo beats and stuff, but the more I grow older, I realize how important collaboration is. Fast forward to 2024, I spent the rest of 2023 just grinding the tutorial channel, and then the Type Beat channel was just doing its thing, but I kind of just made it just to see if it would blow up again. I didn't really want to like do that niche anymore. So again, I know this is going to be confusing, but stay with me. I quit that channel again. I didn't make a dramatic I quit video, but I just kind of stopped posting on there. So Cyphle 3 is done. Cyphle 1 is done, has been done. That one gets renamed to Cyphle Archive. This channel, Cyphle 2, gets renamed to Cyphle because it comes to the new main channel. Cyphle 3 is still Cyphle 3, but like I just stopped uploading on it. I might delete that channel entirely. And then January 2024, late January, we start a new Type Beat channel, Cyphle 4. This time I want to do a bigger niche, more mainstream, so I can get a bigger audience and see if I can blow up again. And we basically do the same shit again. Within a couple months, we're back up. This time even crazier. It's not the most views I've had yet. Well, actually, we're almost there, but it's by far the most success, and now it's the most money I've had. I think we just crossed that last month. So yeah, we've just basically just keep redoing the process. We're doing very well now. And now that I know what I'm doing, there's no chance I fall off. Like, yeah, maybe 1 month the views will be down or something, but for the most part, I know what I'm doing now. I have all the stuff built up, and there's no way I could fail. But yeah, overall, I could have saved years by, one, investing in myself. I didn't invest in a beat store. I didn't invest in any education. I was just kind of just living life, doing my thing. Nowadays, I'm very focused on that. I'm always investing in myself. I posted on my Instagram recently. I was in a private call with a dude named Andy Elliott, who's pretty fucking big. I don't know if you guys have heard of him because he's not music. He's more like sales, but that's an example of investing in myself. I'm not friends with him. I paid for the education. But yeah, that was huge. That was probably thousands of dollars of knowledge that I learned from him in just like a 2-hour call. So yeah, now I've been focused on learning, and that alone could have saved me years. That's what I aim to do on this channel. I try to help you guys learn from my mistakes so then you don't fucking make them. Another thing that fucked me up is I switched business models so many times. Like, I was going through Type Beats to tutorials, back to Type Beats, so switching niches. And that's a valuable lesson in any business, is you don't want to switch it up so many times. In the beginning, you just want to focus on one thing and one thing only. Then once you've gotten some success in there and you're very good at that, then you want to go on to something else. You'll see like a lot of these, entrepreneurs that have like 8 businesses, but the secret is they only started with one, and then they slowly branched out into more. And the final thing is simply take it more seriously to begin with. If I took it more seriously in summer 2018, I could have fucking had the results I had now by like 2020. So I could have saved 4 years basically. I'm not mad that, it took me a lot longer than it should have to get to where I'm at though, because I think everything worked out very well and I'm happy with where I'm at. With that being said, if you want to save 4 years and you want to learn directly from me, click the first link in the description below. I teach the fastest way to go to 0 to 1,000 per month as a producer. I just got feedback from the first few students in there, and I added an hour of content in the course. So first link in the description below if you want to look at that. Click here to watch another video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.